Om Sadashivasamarambham Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Akhandam Satchidanandam Avangmanasa Gocharam Atmanam Akhiladharam Ashraye Bhishta Siddhaye. So we were looking at the Anubandha Chatushtaya. The Anubandha Chatushtaya itself is 4 connections with the text which we are studying. And those 4 things were first enumerated here. Tatra Anubandho Nama Adhikari Vishaya Sambandha Prayojanani. In that we are still looking at the Adhikari only. Okay. Adhikari was defined as the knower, Pramata, who has this Sadhana Chatushtaya. Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampannaha Pramata. How he becomes Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampannaha, there was a big lot of adjectives, lot of words are there. All these things we saw. Now in the Sadhana Chatushtaya, again it is enumerated here, correct? Sadhanani, Nitya Nitya Vastu Vivekaha, Vastu Viveka, then Iha Mutrartha Phala Bhoga Viragaha, Shamadhi Shatka Sampattihi, Mumukshuttvani, like that. 4 things, Sadhana Chatushtaya. So in Anubandha Chatushtaya, we are in the first Anubandha, which is Adhikari. Within that, Sadhana Chatushtaya is there. Even within that, Shamadhi Shatka Sampatti, 6-fold qualifications or whatever your characteristics, you can say, 6-fold. So you have to have, starting with Shama, Dhamma, Uparama, like that. In that, we also saw what is Shama. Okay, Shama means what? Shamastavat Shravanadi Vyatirikta Vishebhyaha Manasaha Nigrahaha. We saw this. That means you are only focused, your mind is only focused on Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, which are the Sakshat or direct means for attaining self-knowledge. And self-knowledge is the direct means for attaining moksha. So this way, your mind is only focused on whatever is required to attain the self-knowledge. That is what is defined as Shama here, to the exclusion of everything else. That is understood. Okay. That's what he says. Shravanadi Vyatirikta Vishebhyaha Nigrahaha. Means you are restraining your mind from going after anything else other than doing Shravana, Manana and Nididhyasana. Now that is a tall order for most people. Mind by its very nature is jumping from here and there. So it requires effort. You have to put in some effort to have a certain disposition of your mind, so that your mind is always focused, mind is calm, mind is free of conflicts, mind is free of emotional disturbances. All these things are important. So that is actually a desirable state, we can say, but most people do not have it. You have to put in a lot of effort, but it is there. So a resolved mind, Shamaha means, it's basically means resolution. The Sham Dhatu. From there only Shanti also comes. Okay, peace, all that. So a peaceful mind, resolved mind, which is only focusing on Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. The other one is Dhammaha. This also we saw already. Bahendriyanam tad vyatirikta vishebhyaha nivartanam. So if you are not having Shama also, first you start with Dhamma. Means you are actually focusing on your sense organs and organs of action. Again, the sense organs and organs of action also you want to only engage them in Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. And also even if you have some emotional issues, problems with your mind and all that, still you are able to express yourself properly. So even if you have anger, you don't go and beat up somebody or whatever, shout at people. Instead, you are able to process it and express it. So express it properly first and then process it. You cannot leave any emotional disturbance unprocessed. Then it will keep on coming again and again. So processing that also is an important thing. So that is all part of Dhamma. So if you first you should have Dhamma, then only the Dhamma will lead you to Shama eventually. And so these two things we saw. Now further what our author is saying, Nivartitanam etesham tad vyatirikta vishayebhyaha uparamanam uparatihi. So in the original list, Shama, Dhamma, Uparati. So now he is talking about Uparati. Uparati means cessation, stopping, like that. Uparama means the end, all that. Okay, ending, stopping, cessation. Now, cessation of what? Stopping of what? Means here first he is giving one meaning, that you have already restrained all your Bahya Indriya, even mind, and you are only focusing on Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. Means again you do not go, let them go after all these things. Once you have restrained, you stop them from going after anything else. That is what is Uparama, he says first. Okay. So it is basically connected to Shama and Dhamma. Means it is like once you have achieved Shama Dhamma, you never get out of that. Whatever you have achieved, that accomplishment you always have. That means you don't let your mind and your whatever organs of action or sense organs again go after all these sense objects. Once restrained, they remain as it is. Means you have completely stopped all other activities. Now, or the other more traditional understanding is also he is giving Athava, because this one is more connected to these two only. In fact, it's like an extension of Shama and Dhamma. Instead, what is he saying? Athava, or Vihitanam Karmanam Vidhina Parityagaha. Okay, so whatever karma which has been mandated that you have to do this, you give up that also. Means you become a sannyasi. Taking sannyasa is called Uparati. So why this sannyasa? Because sannyasa has been very highly talked about in different Upanishads, even in Bhagavad Gita. Although Bhagavan tells Arjuna that you don't take sannyasa, you go and do whatever you are supposed to do. If you have to fight, you fight. Okay, so Bhagavan says that you do your swadharma and all that. But still, sannyasa also he praises. In fact, that is one of the confusions for our Arjuna. Arjuna, right in the 3rd chapter also he asks, you are praising knowledge, you are praising sannyasa, but you are asking me to do karma. Again in the 5th chapter he asks. Again in the 18th chapter also he is asking, what is sannyasa, what is tyaga, all these things you tell me, like that. So sannyasa means what? You have understood that any karma phala is not going to help me really. So I am no more interested in any karma at all. And I have the maturity now to not do any of this karma and still be myself. Okay, even my natural tendencies and all I have overcome to an extent. So I want to simplify my life, because a sannyasi means has only 2 roles. All other people, we all have so many roles. We are sons or daughters, we are parents, we are spouses, we are citizens of the state, we are employers, we are employees. So many roles we are playing, and all these roles have their own duties. You have to do all that. In between, you have to also do Shravana, Manana, and Nidhyasana. Means it's a very tall order, correct? It's a big thing. You are a Grihastha. Grihastha Dharma means then a lot of duties are there. Varnashrama Dharma is there. You cannot give up anything. Even after your sons have become big, then you become grandmother, grandfather, all that. That also you have duty. In fact, they call you. You have to go and take care of your grandchildren also, because your son or daughter also is working. What to do? So like this, there are duties, never ending. So what do we do? At one point you say, okay, I want to simplify my life. So only 2 roles. All other roles you give up. How do you give up? Vidhina, as per the rules. Okay, whatever the Veda itself has given certain rules how to take sannyasa, vidhivat sannyasa you have to take as per the tradition, as per the rules, whatever has been given in the Veda. So you have to go and take it from a guru. So you can take sannyasa. That is called vividisha sannyasa. Vividisha sannyasa means what? A sannyasa for the sake of gaining this knowledge, for the sake of simplifying your life and having only 2 roles. Either you are a student or a teacher. You cannot have any other role. As a sannyasi, you are not even a citizen. That's how, at least traditionally in those days, sannyasis were not looked upon even as any citizen. They can go to any kingdom within India. In fact, they were also walking all the time, correct? Real parivrajaka sannyasis could not even stay for more than 3 nights in one place. Then they will leave. So they were going all over the place so that they don't have any attachment to any particular place and all that. Also, normally they say that you should not stay in the same place after you have taken sannyasa, because everybody knows your past and all that. They will still be looking at you based on your past, which may not be very good. Okay. So it is better to go somewhere. You take sannyasa, there is even a saying that at least for 7 years, you should not come back to your native place and all that. So that people really forget you. And you also don't have any attachment, correct? But anyway, the idea of sannyasa is to simplify your life, simplify, give up all other roles, become a student if you are a Vividisha sannyasi. Or there is also a concept of Vidvat sannyasa, like Yajnavalkya wanted to take sannyasa. In the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, there is a Maitreyi Brahmanam is there. There he says, now I want to go and take sannyasa, and I'll divide all my property between you two. He had 2 wives, in fact, Katyayani and Maitreyana, like that. So that is also there. You have a certain knowledge, and then you feel that you want to take up a lifestyle which is also in keeping with that knowledge, correct? Or which is the nearest in keeping with that knowledge. So then you can become still a guru you can take. So Vidvat Sannyasi can be a guru. And Vividisha sannyasi can be a Sishya and then become a guru. These are all allowed. And it is praised also, correct? In fact, whenever we receive a sannyasi, we give Purna Kumbham, then we chant. What do we chant? We chant that Tyage Neike Amritatvama na karmana na prajaya dhane na tyage neike amritatvama nashuhu. So na karmana, not by karma or through karma. Prajaya, not through any children. Dhanena, not through any wealth. Okay. So not karma is the main thing for gaining punya and going to some loka and all that. That you are not interested. Son also is something like that. Okay. Because son is supposed to do your, even after you are gone, pitri karma and all son will do. Or even there is a concept of even interesting certain things with your son. Whatever you were omissions and commissions you did, your son can actually do some karma and take care of that, and then you again get Swargaloka and all that. This also comes in the Brihadaranyaka itself. There is a particular ritual for that. At the time of the death, you can hand over your omissions and commissions to your son and say that you now do this for my sake, and I will then get Swarga. So son is useful whichever way you look at. And then wealth, of course, while living in this world, you require wealth. But none of these things will give you amritatvam. Vittena naiva asha. Like that, even Yajnavalkya says. Through wealth, there is no hope of gaining amritatvam or immortality. So then how do I give? So nakarmanana na prajaya dhanena tyagene amritatvam manushuhu. Only through tyaga, giving up. So there again, sannyasa. न कर्मणा न प्रजया धनेन त्यागेनैके अमृतत्वमानशुः परेण नाकन्निहितं गुहायां विभ्राजते तत्यतयो विशन्ति वेदान्तविज्ञानसुनिश्चितार्थाः सन्न्यासयोगाद्यतयः शुद्धसत्त्वाः. So Vedanta Vijnana Sunischitarthaha. This comes in the Mundaka also. Okay, so Vedanta Vijnana Sunischitartha Sannyasa Yogat Yataya Shuddha Sattvaha. So Sannyasa Yogat, having taken sannyasa and having pure mind, and one who has also understood the Vedanta, the whatever the meaning of all the Vedanta texts, they go to Brahmaloka. Te Brahmaloke tu para antakale paramritat parimuchyanti sarve. Like that. That also the sannyasis gain moksha. Like this it is there. Even in Bhagavad Gita also it is there. In the 18th chapter, where again moksha sannyasa yoga it is called. So asakta buddhis sarvatra jitatma vigata sprihaha naishkarmya siddhim paramam sannyasena adhigacchati. So the one who is asaktaha, not attached to anything. Sarvatra asaktaha. So asakta buddhis sarvatra jitatma, one who has won over. Atma here is all your body, mind, sense complex only, particularly your senses and all that. So your mind and senses, you have mastery over your mind and sense. Such a person. Asakta buddhihi jitatma. Correct? Such a person. What happens to him? Also he is vigata sprihaha, without any longing for anything. This person doesn't think that only by getting this I'll be happy, or if this is there I cannot be happy. Both are not there. No longing for anything. No longing to get rid of something or gaining something also. Vigata spriha. Spriha means trishna, some kind of a thirst, longing, not there. And such a person, through sannyasa, he gains naishkarmya siddhi, like that Bhagavan says. Naishkarmya siddhi, there is also a great text. But that word comes here in Bhagavad Gita only. So naishkarmya siddhim paramam. Paramam naishkarmyam siddhim means what? He knows himself as akarta. I am not in any way connected to any kriya, karma or karma phala. Nothing is because I am not even a karta. I am not a karta bhokta. That is the knowledge which gives you naishkarmyam, means what? That you are not connected in any way with karma or karma phala. You are already purna. You are complete in all respects, and you are not subjected to any kind of karma or karma phala. That is the knowledge. Self is always unconnected to any of these things. Taking oneself as a karta bhokta itself is the first step in this ignorance. Okay, so that knowledge, that moksha you gain through sannyasena adhigacchati, like that Bhagavan says there. So sannyasa as an ashrama towards moksha is highly praised, and Shankara Bhagavad Padacharya also in his commentary everywhere he actually praises sannyasa more than anything else. But again, in today's world, taking sannyasa and all is not very easy, particularly brahmacharya. See, yad ahareva vrajet, tad ahareva pravrajet, like that, there's a statement is there. The moment you have dispassion, vairagya, then you can take sannyasa, like that it says. Veda only says. Means from any ashrama you can take sannyasa. But that is only an exceptional, highly exceptional, only we have to consider that as a case. Otherwise, everybody has to go through their regular grihastha ashrama, vanaprastha and all that, and then taking sannyasa is the best. Particularly in Kali Yuga, I think, right now, having seen so many sannyasis and all that, I can say that. So it is better, because Bhagavan also says in the 5th chapter, he says that for the one who is not ready for sannyasa, sannyasastu mahabaho dukkham aptum ayogataha, he says. The one who is not ready for it, for whatever reason they take sannyasa, means then sannyasa itself becomes a dukkha. Because whatever is legitimate for others becomes illegitimate for the sannyasi. And if you are still having some samskaras and all that, some tendencies which are you are not able to overcome, then it becomes very difficult. So there are people who are given sannyasa to sannyasa itself. Okay. So that it becomes like that at the end of the day. So that is why another meaning for this Uparati also is given. In fact, if you read another introductory text like Tattva Bodha, I think Tattva Bodha also says Uparati also is doing your Swadharma with Yoga Buddhi. So even though you have not become a sannyasi, but for you moksha is the most important purushartha. So what do? Even though you have all these different roles, you do all those duties as duty, correct? And also so that you gain certain maturity by doing your duty in spite of your likes and dislikes. You are gaining a certain maturity, freedom from your own likes and dislikes, mastery over your own likes and dislikes. That means you are gaining a pure mind, a mind which is free from conflicts. So all these things you achieve by karma pala tyaga itself. That's what Bhagavan also says in the Bhagavad Gita. Mostly he is actually talking very highly of karma phala tyaga rather than taking a lifestyle of sannyasa itself. You continue the lifestyle as a grihastha or whatever ashrama you are in, and then do your duty in a given situation. Whatever is your duty, whatever roles you have, for all those roles, whatever duties you have to do that and overcome your own likes and dislikes, and then you are qualified. So that doing your swadharma, swakarma with yoga buddhi itself also is called uparati. That meaning is not given here, but that also we have to take. That is a more relevant meaning for most of us who are also grihasthas. So this uparati means essentially whatever you are doing, you are only doing it for moksha, correct? You are not doing it for anything else. So you stop doing things for only dharma, artha, kama, and you do things only for moksha. You can take like that, correct? So that uparati is basically cessation of doing things just for dharma, artha, or kama. You are not doing for that, but you are doing your duties because it is going to help you in gaining moksha, in gaining jnanam. So that way, if you look at it, then uparati means cessation of all the activities which are purely for dharma or artha or kama. Like that we can take. That is a better meaning, more relevant to most people. Then So that is Uparati. So we have seen Shama, Dhamma and Uparati. Then next is what? Titiksha. So Titiksha, very important. Okay, forbearance and all that you can call in English, I think. Ability to bear things, endurance. What is that Titiksha? Shitoshnadi Dvandva Sahishnuta. So this author is saying your ability to withstand, to endure things like hot and cold. Correct? These dualities are there. Dvandva. These pairs are there everywhere. Sukha, dukkha, Shitam, Ushnam, all these things. Even in Bhagavad Gita also, Bhagavan, in fact, in the beginning itself, when he starts teaching, he talks about Titiksha very highly. He tells Arjuna, so Matra Sparshastu Kaunteya, Shitoshna Sukha Dukkhadaha, Agamapayino Nityaha, Tam Titikshasva Bharata, Yamhi Navyathayantyete, Purusham Purusharshabha, Sama Dukkha Sukham Dhiram, Somritatvaya Kalpate. So he says that Matraha, Sparshaha, so all these indriyas, these sense organs, they come into contact with their sense objects, correct? Shabdadeyaha. And when they come into contact like that, obviously that this sense organ and sense object contact will give you certain feelings and all that, which is either pleasant or unpleasant, correct? It can be pleasant, unpleasant, or it can be hot, it can be cold, it can be sukha, dukkha and all that. And so what Bhagavan says, but they are all agama payinaha. They come and go. It can be, nothing can be always pleasant, neither it can be always unpleasant. Okay. They are all temporary only. So always it's not going to be cold, nor always it is going to be hot. Of course, seasons change, weather changes from one day to another also it can change. So these are all temporary only. So do not be discouraged or become depressed by all these things. You should be able to withstand all these, whatever, these pairs, these pairs of opposites. So he says, Agama Paino Anityaha, they are all Anitya. Tam Stitikshasva Bharata. You have to have titiksha towards all these things. You have to endure. You should have patience. Patiently you have to endure. In fact, Adi Shankara in Viveka Chudamani gives a even better definition of titiksha. So, what he says is, Pratikara Purvakam Chinta Vilaparahitam Sa Titiksha Nigadhyate. Sahanam Sarva Dukkhanam Apratikara Purvakam. Okay. So he says all dukkha will come for everybody. Okay. Whether you are a poor person, rich person, all that, one single mosquito is good enough to give you miserable night. So any kind of dukkha you are able to endure, bear it. But how? What is your attitude while you are enduring it is very important. That also Bhashyakara, Adi Shankara is pointing out. He says, Sahanam sarva dukkhanam, fine. How? Apratikara purvakam. Apratikara purvakam means not complaining, thinking why should it happen to me, why me. These are all problems, correct? Once you start thinking why me and all that, you will have sorrow only. You are having some resistance and you are thinking that why is this happening to me? So if you go in that thought process, you will end up depressed and you will end up in sorrow. So that's why he says apratikara purvakam, without any resistance or without having any bitter feeling about it. And chinta vilaparahita, he says, without any worry and complaint and all that. Correct? That is what is titiksha. Titiksha means, okay, some people endure, but they are all the time complaining about it. In fact, even after it is over, they'll be complaining. It happened like that. It happened like that. It was so hot, so hot. And I did not even get anything to drink. I did not have any shade, nothing. I was standing for 1 hour. That some person will say, even after 10 years later, they'll be telling about that and feeling bad. So that's not good, correct? That's not really titiksha. So titiksha means you are able to bear all these in day-to-day life. Whatever happens, you are able to bear it. Cheerfully you are able to bear everything. Okay, if I have to say. So it should not be with any kind of difficulty. Mentally also you are cheerfully accepting, cheerful acceptance of whatever is coming to you. That is titiksha. So shitoshna, dvandva, shitoshnadi, adi padat, everything else, sukha dukha, etc. Dvandva sahishnuta is titiksha. So titiksha again is something we have to develop. Most people do not have titiksha. Even if somebody is irritating you, you can become angry very easily. So that means it has to be consciously titiksha as a value, forbearance or accommodation also. Kshama also we say sometimes. So we are able to accommodate different people, whatever, with their own quirks, with their own specialities. Everybody is different. They may not agree with whatever you say, or you need not agree with whatever they say, but still you are able to accommodate everybody, cheerfully accommodate people, give them the freedom to be whoever they are. You don't have to have a pressure to change somebody. Then you are also free. The more freedom you give to others to be whatever they are, you can be free. If they want any help, and if they really want to change, you can help. That's a different thing. But you cannot go and change anybody. That also we have to be very clear. And whatever, another important thing in Titiksha is what? This in Bhagavad Gita also Bhagavan says this. Tasmad apariharyerthe natvam shochitum arhasi. That also he says. See, we should be very clear what we can do in a situation, what we cannot do, what is under our control, what is beyond us. Now, many people have a miserable life because all the time they are focusing on things which are beyond them. Correct? It's not even in your control. Then what is the point in cribbing about that or complaining about that all the time? So you should have an idea about what you have a parihara for something. You can do something means then it is in your sphere of influence, let us say. So that also you have to be very clear. What is there in my sphere of influence? Within that you can do something means you do whatever action you can do, you have to do that. But whatever is beyond that, you have to cheerfully accept. There is no point complaining about that or worrying about it. So tasmad apariharyerthe, apariharya, okay, apariharye arthe natvam shochitum arhasi. So with reference to things which are not under your influence or control, you need not worry or you should not worry. Like that, Bhagavan, this also comes in somewhere, second chapter, around 30th verse, I think. He tells Arjuna. Because with reference to the war, he is saying, war is already, battle has started. Now, just because you are not fighting, war is not going to stop, correct? He wants to run away means it doesn't solve anything. So, you have to participate in that context. Bhagavan says that, but it is a general advice. So that is relevant for titiksha also. To have certain titiksha, you should be very clear about what you can do, what is beyond your sphere of influence or control, and focus on whatever you can do. If there is darkness, if you are able to light a lamp or whatever, even a matchstick, that is fine. Okay, so whatever you can do, you have to do. And everything else you have to cheerfully accept, means you are having titiksha. So now 4 things we have seen: shama, dhamma, uparati, titiksha. Then next is what? Samadhanam, samadhana. No, samadhana is also means mind which is again resolved, calm, peaceful, or which has resolved into whatever you want it to resolve into. Okay, samadhi, samadhanam and all is same. So he says no. Nigrihitasya manasaha shravanadau tad anuguna vishaye cha samadhihi. So the mind which, anyway, see, when we talked about shama and dhamma, you have restrained your mind from everything else. And you are only going to focus on Shravana Manana. Now that actual focus on Shravana Mananam and whatever is associated with that, correct? That Anuguna means whatever is also going to facilitate you to do Shravana Manana Nididhyasana. In all those activities, your mind is only engaged in that. It has resolved into only those things and nothing else. So you are totally concentrating only on this. And again, many people complain that I don't have concentration. See, concentration is not a problem. If you have the interest, concentration will come automatically. So even the person who complains that I don't have any concentration, you ask him what is your favorite movie, favorite movie star or whatever, or some other favorite activity, and then you ask them to do, they will be doing it for 2 hours also, correct? 2 hours, 3 hours continuously, you are able to focus. No problem. So that means what? Focus or concentration itself is not an issue. The issue is whether you have the interest or not. Or even if some kind of a conscious interest is there, still it has to permeate your entire person, your subconscious and all that. That interest has to be there. Once you have the burning desire for moksha, automatically concentration and all will come. The concentration will come towards whatever is the means for gaining that moksha. So that samadhi means your mind is concentrated, focused, and then it resolves into that particular activity alone, which is going to lead you to moksha, which is all this Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, etc. So the mind which is withdrawn, which has been restrained from everything else, now it resolves into these things, Shravana, Manana, etc. That is samadhi or samadhanam. So now this is slightly different from the yoga samadhi, because yoga is only talking about chitta vritti nirodha, correct? That is the main yoga. Yoga sutra definition is what? You stop all the modifications of your mind, all the mental modifications, you suppress, stop. Now that is not the samadhi we are talking about here. Okay, so the samadhi here is more focusing on the self-knowledge itself and the means to gain this self-knowledge. That is the samadhi we are talking about. But although there is a difference, but largely the Ashtanga Yoga as a sadhana is accepted by the Vedantin also. But the Ashtanga Yoga itself is not a good enough sadhana. Understand that. Ashtanga Yoga is again a sadhana which will prepare you for this self-knowledge, which you have to gain only from Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana. So Ashtanga Yoga will help you in Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasanam, particularly in Nididhyasanam. The whatever yoga sadhana you have done will help you in doing the dhyana. So they also have a dhyana. Okay. So the dhyanam, then samadhi. Here the samadhi, whatever we are saying is you have now resolved into the Upanishadic teaching itself. That is the samadhi we are talking about. Okay, so that is, it's not just a non-thinking mind. It is not a lightened mind. My Guruji used to say that. Okay. Yoga samadhi is a lightened mind, means it is not having any modifications. There is no mental activity. It is lightened mind. But for a Vedantin, what you need is an enlightened mind, not just a lightened mind. Because even when you go into yoga samadhi and come back, whether you are a jnani or an ajnani is very important. So you have to be a jnani. So enlightened mind is what we are interested in, not just lightened mind. So that way, this samadhi, although the same term we are using, the way it is understood is different. Okay, finally then, Shraddha. And what is Shraddha? Guru Upadishta Vedanta Vakyeshu Vishwasaha Shraddha. So, Shraddha means what? Vishwasaha, faith, belief. In what? Guru Upadishta Vedanta Vakyeshu. See, beautifully he is saying, not just Vedanta Vakya, you should not read Vedanta yourself. Then you are not going to understand it also properly. And it is not just any Guru or Vakya also. Nowadays you have many apne aap gurus who don't have any sampradaya, any parampara. They are also problematic. So then where should your Shraddha be? Your Shraddha should be there in the Guru Vakya. But that Guru Vakya itself is nothing but Vedanta Vakya only. So the Vedanta Vakya, the sentences of Vedanta which are taught to you by your Guru, in that you have to have Shraddha or Vishwasaha. Again, this is only a benefit of the doubt you are giving initially. That is very important to understand, because the Veda itself is revealing different things, correct? We have discussed a little bit about the Veda being an independent means of knowledge for us. As it is an independent means of knowledge, whatever it is revealing, we take it as knowledge. But even in that, certain things are indirect knowledge, certain things are direct. Now, what are the indirect things? All karma kanda is indirect. Understand that, because either you are going to go to Swarga, and the means for that also you don't know. Only the Veda is revealing. So you do Jyotishtoma, you will go to Swarga. So Veda is revealing both means and ends. Both of them are only revealed by the Veda. That is one case. Sometimes ends are known. Putra kameshti. So you want a putra, do all these things. And again, the means is only revealed by the Veda. You cannot question it. But at least end you will know whether you get the putra or not. After doing all these things, Dasharatha got putra. Not just Dasharatha, as I may have told you already. Even like 20-30 years before, we know people who did putra kameshti and had a son. Okay, so at least the end is known. Okay, so like this, both are there, whatever is revealed by the Veda. So in the case of the end being known, it is only a question of you continuing to give the benefit of the doubt to the Veda till you know it yourself. Correct. In the case of self-knowledge also, the self is already available. So basically, Veda is only removing all wrong notions about yourself. Once all those wrong notions are gone, self is available, self is already there. That means it is direct knowledge, whatever it is giving you. So you have to only give the benefit of the doubt to the Veda till the time you understand clearly about yourself. Before that, sometimes certain things may not be clear to you, certain things can be vague. During all that time, if you are able to give the benefit of the doubt to your teacher and whatever the Veda is revealing, then you have Shraddha. If you don't have Shraddha, what you will say? All this is nonsense. My Guru only does not know, and you can leave. Then Guru is not losing anything. Understand that. You are the loser, in fact. Because, in fact, you are the limitless loser. Because if you don't receive this teaching, what you are losing is the limitlessness itself. Because the teaching is you are the limitless. Anything other than that means you have lost the limitless. Mahati vinashti, in fact. Ihached avedit atha satyamasti nached yavedin mahati vinashti, like that Kenopanishad says. So, if you do not know this by any chance here, then your loss is infinite. Immeasurable loss it is. So if you have Shraddha only, you can navigate through all these stages and then understand finally. So that's why Bhagavan also says in the Gita, Shraddhavan labhate jnanam. Okay, so only those who have Shraddha only gain this knowledge. Or even Chandogya also says, Acharyavan Purusho Veda. The one who has the Acharya means that person has Shraddha in the Acharya. So Acharyavan Purushaha, the one who has the Acharya, that person alone knows. It's very important, the Shraddha. So when you are initially learning the Shastra, even if you don't understand something, you don't question the Guru or don't think that the Guru does not know that our Shastra is wrong. Instead, you question your own understanding and try to get clarity. So for the sake of clarity, you can question. All our teaching is always in the form of discussion. Vada, Samvada and all we say, correct? So any question you can ask and it will be clarified. You have to seek clarification. But till the time you have that clarity, you have to give the benefit of the doubt to your Guru and the Shastra. That is Shraddha. So that Shraddha you should have. That Veda is a means of knowledge. It is a valid means of knowledge. If you accept that, that itself is Shraddha, in fact. That is what that such a person is called an Astika. So whatever is said by the Veda, Asti, you say. You don't say Nasti. Whatever is revealed by the Veda, Asti, it is there. That is Shraddha. Such a person is the Astika. Correct? So the one who accepts the Veda as a pramana is Astikaha. One who rejects the Veda and all its revelation is the Nastika. But the interesting thing is this Astika Nastika is nowadays translated as believer in God and non-believer in God and all that. But traditionally it is not like that. It is only with reference to the Veda. In fact, those who are highly Astika can still be a Nirishwaravadi, like Purva Mimamsaka or even the Sankhya people are all Nirishwaravadi. They don't accept an Ishvara. They say world is always like this. The Purva Mimamsaka says, although they accept Devas, but not an Ishvara as a cause of this world. Because they can say that the world was always like this. It is uncaused. Because anyway, we are proposing an uncaused cause of this world. Why are you going one step back? They can say that the world itself is uncaused. So that kind of an argument can still be there. But their interpretation of the Veda is wrong. Okay. But they have such an interpretation and they claim to be Astika. Anyway, so the Shraddha means you say that Veda is a valid means of knowledge and my Guru is teaching whatever is revealed by the Veda. And even if I am not able to accept it Even if it is not clear to me initially, I still give the benefit of the doubt. Therefore, I have Shraddha, and with that, if I continue, then there will be clarity. There is a growing clarity. You attend more and more Vedanta classes. You dwell upon the teaching. You discuss it amongst yourself with fellow students. All that will aid you in getting clarity, in clearing your doubts, and also this continuous recollection of this knowledge will make it strong. It will be available to you always. These are all very important things. So Shraddhavan labate jnanam. The one who has Shraddha gains this knowledge. Then finally, mumukshutvam. Okay, this now we are going back. Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti is over with, the Samadhi Shatka Sampatti is over with Shraddha. But we are now going back to Sadhana Chatushtaya Sampatti. Because when we talked about Sadhana Chatushtaya, you saw here, correct? Nitya Nitya Vastu Viveka, Iha Mutra Artha Phalabhoga Viragaha, Samadhi Shatka Sampatti is over with Shraddha. Finally, Mumukshutva. So that Mumukshutvam means what? Moksha Icha, that's all. Correct? That particular pratyaya is there. Jignasu, Mumukshu and all. That 2 times also it will be Mu, it becomes, correct? So there is a san pratyaya is there. It comes in the meaning of desiring something. So moksha icha. So you have the desire for moksha. In fact, this should be the first qualification. Because moksha icha is the main thing. Once you have this burning desire, everything else you will acquire. Correct? The Samadhi Shatka Sampatti and even the Viveka, Vairagya, all these things you can cultivate. But the moksha icha is the driver. The desire for freedom from all limitations, the understanding of your fundamental problem and what can be the solution. Once you have understood that clearly, and then you have the desire for freedom, means everything else also will fall in place. So this moksha icha, in fact, is the most important thing. From there only everything starts. Or sometimes it starts with nitya nitya vastu viveka also, which leads to moksha icha. Maybe that's why they have put the nitya nitya vastu viveka first. Okay. In fact, Samadhi Shatka Sampatti is mostly the last. If you have a certain viveka and a vairagya born out of that, and moksha icha also, then the Samadhi Shatka Sampatti is something you have to cultivate. You have to do sadhana, you have to practice, and over a period of time only you will gain all that. Okay. Abhyasena tu kaunteya vairagyena cha grikhyate, like that Bhagavan says. So for everything, abhyasa is important. You cannot get it in one day, or you start some practice, next day only nothing will be there. It has to be for a period of time. So that abhyasa is important. With that, you can gain this adhikaritvam, all this sadhana chatushtaya, samadhi shatka sampatti, everything you can gain with abhyasa. Okay, so the other things. Okay, now he is giving where did we get all this samadhi shatka sampatti and all that. That also is from the Brihadaranyaka Upanishad only. That we will see next week. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.